So in the last unit, we took a look at the law of cosines, and then before that, we looked at the law of sines. So let's put the two together. They're not going to tell you which one to use in this. They are word problems. The word problem's not really the bad part. The bad part's going to be figuring out, do we use the law of sines or do we use the law of cosines? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So the law of sines works, let's just say if you have an angle and a side and then another angle and you're looking for a side. So if you have this situation, notice that you have, basically you look for two pairs. And those pairs would be the side to the opposite angle, the side to the opposite angle. That's usually when we're going to use the law of sines. If you can somehow get yourself into the situation, you can use the law of sines. Now, one of these would be unknown. Maybe this side's unknown, or maybe this angle's unknown, or this angle's unknown, or this side's unknown. But we'll have one of these to be an unknown. Now, it is possible, sometimes what they do in this situation is they might give you the angle not across. So maybe like B is unknown, right? So you have a pair here of side and angle, but you don't have this pair, but you want to find this side. This is still law of sines because you can use the angle. Remember, if you know this angle and this angle, we can come up with that third angle because they all add up to 180. And that would put you into the situation in which now you would have your two pairs. Now you have the angle inside here and the angle inside here. So if you do have two of the angles and basically two sides, you're going to be using law of sines. As long as one of those is going to be unknown though. What about law of cosines? Two different situations. So we looked at that in the last video. Definitely a good idea to take a look at that. So let's just say we have an angle. We're looking for this side, and then we have the two sides in between. So we're missing these two angles. That's fine. If you have the included angle and you're looking for a third side, but you have the two sides that are next to it and you have the included angle, you can find that third side using the law of cosines. And remember, what is the law of cosines? That's a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2ab cosine of b. And I have that memorized. These are really easy to memorize. Sine of a over a equals sine of b over b. And I don't remember the exact, sometimes I flip-flop the formula. It's the same thing. And then the other time we can use law of cosines is if you have all three sides and you're looking for an angle. So if you have all three sides and looking for an angle, law of cosines. Actually, if you have all three angles and you're looking for a side, that's probably law of sines, but you do need one side to reference. So let's look at these word problems, figure out the situation we're in. So how far is Lisa from the peak of the mountain when she's standing at the base? So they really just, they're giving all these words, but everything's already here for you. So they want to know what this question mark here is. The 49 degree is probably just an extra angle. Let's see, actually we might need to use it. So this is what we were talking about earlier. Now we know there's 180 degrees. This is going to look like, to me, law of sines right now. Because you can see the angle, side opposite. We're not going to be able to come up with this side here, but I could come up with this angle over here. And that would set us up nicely for the law of sines, because now we have this side and angle there across from each other and the side and angle there across from each other. So this being 49 degrees, the whole thing is 180. So this missing angle here would be 100 and, what is that? It's going to be 31. And then there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So if this is 131 and that's 38. Let me just double check that 131. I'm pretty sure it's right. And it is. Okay, so 180, we're going to take away from 180 the 131, which is actually 49, and then we're going to take away that 38, and this angle here is 11. So now we can set up our law of sines. Sine of 11 over 800 equals sine of 38 over the question mark. We'll call that x. And right here is our setup. We cross multiply and solve. I'll let you guys go back to law of sines if you need to watch the video on how to solve that. Here, this one, look at this. The angle and the two sides that are forming the angle. So this is these are two sides and the included angle. Boom. This is just completely law of cosines right here. So set it up. I'll set it up for you. We'll do the question mark squared equals 250 squared plus 360 squared minus 2 times 250 times 360 times cosine of 34. Evaluate all this and square root it, and once again reference the law of cosines video if you need help with that. This one's interesting, took me some time looking at it. This is one I had to actually read the problem. How far are Gustavo and Aiden away from each other? So I was thinking, like, for some reason the way this picture looked, I thought they wanted this measure here, and I was like, man, and I was kind of struggling, just kind of pre-looking at this, scoping it out before I do the video. And actually it's just asking how far Gustavo and Aiden, you know, so it's asking for this whole side. So once again, this is a law of cosines, because look, we got two sides and the included angle. Now you're going to have to add up those two measures though. But once again, it's just going to be set up our x squared equals a squared, almost the exact same numbers it looks like. Is it? Close, different on the angle. And then we want cosine of the entire angle is going to be 56, it looks like. Now this one here is going to be, we're looking for this missing angle here. So what we can do, this is looking like law of sines. If we have this angle here, if we have this one here, we can make it law of sines, because then we'll have, you know, the opposite side there, the opposite side there. We'll have those two pairs of opposite sides. So once again, we know that the whole line is 180 degrees, which 180 minus 58 would be 122. Don't know why I wrote it so bad. And now you can just set it up. Sine of 122 over 3.72 equals sine of question mark, we'll put x over 2.6, and I have an example of how to solve that in the video as well. So I just want to show you the setup, the difference between law of sines and cosines. You know, that's probably the hardest part, is determining the difference there. Honestly, you could try to set up one, and if it fails, and move on to the other, but you can see that this one we still had to figure out another angle in order to get those two pairs. But the goal with law of sines is, can you get, and you saw that in those two examples, can you get the two pairs of opposite sides and angles? And it may not be straight up from the beginning, you might have to do something to get there.